Okay, we're unmuted.
All right.
It's on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals. We're going to begin this morning with Ms. Kukla reading the preamble.
Good morning. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this Monday, January 22nd, 2024.
Somebody's
In
not.
compliance with
Yeah.
notification requirements of the city's open meeting.
One sec. We need someone to mute themselves. We're getting feedback.
It looks like it's Joy.
Joy?
Me? Okay.
Yeah, so we're getting feedback.
Let's see what I'm doing. Oh, okay.
Okay, great. That's our court reporter, so it's
Okay.
very important we have her on.
Wait a minute. Trying to
I can use
unmute. Change audio connections.
You can try to mute her.
There we go.
Okay,
No.
no,
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
All right.
In
Well-
compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of it. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded through the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak in a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. Do we have any postponements or any other announcements?
We do have one postponement this morning. We received this early. It's for calendar number 23-224 regarding 4308 Franklin Boulevard.
Okay.
The appellant is requesting more time. There's some more information that they want to submit, and they want to get something clear with the wording of the description, so they need to meet with the city again.
All right. So did we give them a date?
We did not give them a date yet. So 30 days out will be February 26th.
All right. So calendar number 22-224 is postponed at the request of the appellant to February 26th of this year. Anything else?
23-224, just for clarity. I think you said 22.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
It was-
because that's how it is. There's a typo.
Oh,
It was on the agenda as.
Yeah.
sorry about that. It's 23-224.
Yep.
Madam Chair, just wanted to point out that Councilman Starr has also joined us now.
Okay.
Councilman Hairston was first.
All right. So as a courtesy to council members, when they are present, we move their cases to the top of the agenda. This morning, excuse me, Councilman Hairston arrived first and Councilman Starr arrived second. So we'll begin this morning with calendar number,
Madam Chair,
yes,
let us to call the roll.
yes,
Oops.
thanks.
Sure. Ms. Wilson?
I get ahead of myself.
Present.
So decided.
Ms. Roca?
Present.
Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Ms. Tate?
I am here.
And Ms. Brown is running late.
All right.
So we do have 4 members here. The appellants do risk tied vote at this point. So appellant can ask for us to take them later in the agenda until Ms. Brown, if they would like.
Do we have the appellant here for calendar number 23-214? Do you wish to proceed at this point?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. If you'll step forward. Here she is. Let the record note that Ms. Brown has arrived, so we have a full quorum, or full board. Okay. So we're beginning with 23-1.
Thank you.
All right.
You ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Case is calendar number 23-214. This is a violation notice for 855 East 79th Street. Therma Holdings LLC owner appeals under the authority of section 76-6 of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and section 329.02D of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances from the notice of violation number B230-27800 issued on October 23rd, 2023 by the Cleveland Department of Building and Housing for failure to comply with section 327.02C of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances, which states that there shall be no change, substitution, or extension in the use of any building or premises until the required use permits and certificate of occupancy has been issued by the Division of Building and Housing. This was filed on November 22nd, 2023. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Okay, I will swear in all who are present to speak in this case. So I will state the oath. You'll raise your right hand, reply with I do, your name and your address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Why don't I start with you?
Okay, I do. My name is John Vianos, and my address is 23853 Hilliard Boulevard, Westlake, Ohio.
Thank you.
44145.
Hi, good morning. My name is John Monroe. I'm with the law firm of Mansur Gavin. My address is 1001 Lakeside Avenue, Suite 1400, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Good morning, Michael O'Connell, I'm Chief Building Inspector, City of Cleveland, and I'm right here in good old City Hall.
Okay, do you swear or affirm that the
I do.
testimony?
I do.
Okay, very good. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in this matter online?
I do. Councilman Anthony Harrison, Ward 10, 601 Lakeside.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else online who wishes to speak in this matter? All right, back to you,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
We'll have the first, John, if you wouldn't mind to spell your last name for the court reporter.
Sure, Vianos, V as in Victor, IANOS.
All right. Great, thank you. All right, Liz, any information on this?
We do not do history research.
Right, no, I didn't, I just wondered if you had anything
No.
pertinent, all right? Legal standard?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is appealing a violation notice from the Department of Building and Housing. Standard of review to be applied is whether the administrative decision was illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by a preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If the appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
Great, thank you. All right, are you going to be the spokesperson?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I represent the tenant at this property, a company by the name of Therma Holdings LLC. Mr. Vianos is the principal of that company. We have a little bit of a handout here for you all to take a look at, a copy for each of you.
Was this submitted prior to this?
Uh,
So that it's, we have it on screen?
These are some photographs from the city.
Okay.
I do not believe we submitted it previously, but I have given it to the inspector.
Okay,
Thank you. We are not challenging the notice of violation today. We are just requesting additional time to correct the alleged violation. there was some confusion over whether the tenant had to pull permits to use this particular portion of the property for outdoor storage. Currently, the tenant is the largest tenant in the building across the way here, across Detour Avenue. It's the old White Motors facility. They have a warehousing business. They obtained a contract to warehouse plastic recyclable bottles. And the plastic recyclable bottles are put on pallets, and they were stored at this location. It became apparent that we need to go through the various processes to make sure they had a certificate of use to allow that use to continue. And one of the delays that we had is whether they were going to continue to have the contract to store the recycled bottles. And so we has recently learned that they are going to continue on with that business. And so we explained and we worked with Mr. O'Connell that we have to get the necessary permits to do that particular use at this lot. We'll also need to obtain the landlord's approval for whatever improvements you're proposing. So if we take a look at what we put in front of you today is the yellow shaded area is actually the lot where this outdoor storage was being done. The second page, the architect just broke down some of the adjacent uses so that you could see, to the south, you have a Dollar General. To the west, you have vacant land. You have some assorted industrial uses to the east, and then a school located on the corner there, which is adjacent. The next page, as you can see, this is in the general industry district, which is, as you all know, a fairly unusual district in the city of Cleveland. It's one of the most permissive districts under your zoning code. I think there's one more permissive zoning district, the unrestricted industry, which is extremely rare. But we just wanted to point out that this is inside the general industry district. It is adjacent to some other zoning districts. What the appellant is proposing to do, and it's not really before you today, but we just wanted to show you that as part of looking at the code, we did determine that the proposed outdoor storage needs to be fenced in. And so the architect has shown the proposed fencing that would be all around the proposed use and would be basically a 6-foot high board on board fence. And so we think the next step is to make a formal application to the Department of Building and Housing to try to get the permit. We don't think there are any setbacks or buffer strips required because it is a general industry district. And so we just need 60 days to get that application in and hopefully get all the necessary permits. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add, sir?
I do not.
Okay. We'll go to you.
I'm doing well, how are you?
Good.
I really don't have a whole lot to add. As long as they keep this path going, we'll get our compliance that we need. I mean, anything you do in the city needs a use permit. I mean, it's pretty clear standard. So there's screening requirements. There might be some height limitations as far as how high you can store those. I am not sure on the setback as far as the landscaping, if there are any.
Right.
requirements. But that'll all get ironed out in the plan review process.
Okay.
So I have no issues with extending the time to get.
Okay. So you're really asking for 90 days max, is that it?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
all right. Councilman Hairston, would you like to make comment to this point?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, staff. Again, Councilman Anthony Hairston, Ward 10. This is situated in my ward, just north of St. Clair. I am not, nor is the community, in support of the request by the appellants to leave these debris on this site any longer than what they've been on. In fact, the reason Building and Housing got involved is because I've reached out to Building and Housing after receiving several emails, several phone calls, several people just stopping into the neighborhood office complaining about the flies and the bugs that this storage area were attracting. Before this, we didn't have those issues there on East 82nd Street or East 79th Street. The school has seen it worse. These are young kids, these are daycare, school age, and younger kids who are in the building across the street. They couldn't eat lunch because of the amount of flies and bugs that these debris were attracting to the area. They tried to close the doors and windows, but it gets too hot inside. I mean, it just created a mess. The Weldon shop next to the south of this site had to close down because he couldn't work in his building because of the flies and the gnats that these debris were attracting. Yes, it may be so-called recyclable material, but we don't know whether these materials have been cleaned and washed out properly. You know, I mean, it was literally that aerial view that you see is what it looks like now. That place was packed to the curb almost. That's not the original aerial view of this site. That place was packed to the hip of this facility, of this site right here. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of places in Westlake that this can be stored and not right here in our community. It is not wanted by the business owners to the east of here. It's not wanted by the Family Dollar. It's not wanted by the Weldon shop. It is not wanted by anyone in this neighborhood. It is a mess. We are not, Mr. Chief O'Connell, in support of a permit of any kind for them to store these materials as is on this site. They had a fence that was buckling because of how tightly packed this area was here between 79th and 82nd Street. And I mean, it's just not acceptable the way that they have come into the neighborhood and stockpiled this garbage here in our neighborhood. I am not support, the community is not in support of these debris being stored on this site at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to?
Yeah, so to address, yes, as I mentioned, these were recyclable plastic bottles. It was our understanding that when they were to come to this site, they would have been cleaned. Apparently they weren't. In the summer, it did become an issue for bees and some other bugs and what have you. Once Mr. Villanos learned of this, he took steps to address the problem. First, he put up the fencing that you see on that overhead drawing. He pulled all of the material off of the side street, as you can see on the picture in front of you. He created basically a 50-foot setback from the street to try to address that problem. And also, they treated the bugs and the bee problem. And so obviously with the cold weather, that's not an issue. Again, I would suggest, that the use issue will resolve itself through the normal process. Unfortunately or fortunately, this is zone general industry. And so under the city's code, there's a fair amount of uses that are permitted in a general industry district. Obviously, if a nuisance situation comes up, it will be addressed. Have the tenant here, Mr. O'Connor has his number and can contact him if there's any problems. But, the use issue, I think we have to put aside for another day. But again, just to focus on the appeal at hand, which is we're just seeking additional time to seek the permits. Thank you.
So can you explain to us what the bottles, the flow of how this process works,
John?
what the bottles are for,
Sure.
what kind of bottles they are?
So the company that we warehouse for, they're located out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We basically are, this material here feeds a plant in Richmond, Indiana. It all goes out by truckload, 53-foot trailers that come onto the property. We have a mobile dock. None of it is.
Can you explain what the bottles are?
Sure. It's post-consumer plastic.
So beverage bottles of
Correct.
sorts.
Correct. Nothing tin cans, nothing like that, nothing hazardous. Most of it's all comes in bundles, bales, and it
So
goes
they're
out.
crushed and baled before they arrive on site?
Correct.
Okay,
And at that point, we hold on to it, and our customer would say, hey, we need a certain amount of this product by Wednesday. And we arrange for shipment to go out. That's how the flow goes.
and what's the end product for these?
So most states require now, let's say our customer makes PET resins. They are required to make so much resin out of recycled green material. So this is kind of like an environmental type situation where they want this material to be blended with their virgin resins in order to come to compliance with their state as far as injection mold plastic.
So would we consider this a green industry then?
I would, environmental, but everyone has their own opinions of it.
Okay.
So,
And where is the entrance gate for the semis?
right there on
as it's
79.
on
Detour,
79?
where Detour runs into 79, correct?
Okay, we're Detour, so the gate is right there
Yes, ma'am.
across from the intersection with Detour. Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
may I ask, how long is the material usually on the site before it ships out?
It varies. Right now, there's not much movement, but it can go anywhere between 30 days. It might come in, and then the old material goes out.
So there's always,
It's not going to be, it's not going to empty and then fill back in. It might take maybe like a month or two for the whole supply to cycle around.
no, I got that, but because new materials coming in, I'm asking, is it ever fully depleted and cleaned or anything, as we were hearing about the nuisance that was
Well,
caused in the summer?
again, this is a new venture for us, and as we're going, we're trying to make measures where we address that, where we have the nuisances, the bugs, bees, stuff like that. And we do clean it every month.
So two things that I think are important. First of all, once Mr. Villanos got the notices from the city of Cleveland, immediately tried to address all of the issues as best he could. And secondly, as I mentioned, they are the largest tenant in the adjacent White Motors complex, which is next door. So it's not like they're just putting this stuff here and they're somewhere else. They're pretty much on site and available. If there's any specific issues, they can come right over to their location in the building and say, hey, there's a problem. But it should be mentioned, as you can see, that most of the material is crushed and baled. So there's not like there's loose material floating around, so.
So I could definitely see if you've ever done construction of like a bug house, which is very often a kid's project.
Yeah, it's a perfect
This
environment.
This is a larger scale of a bug house, times many,
Yes.
so.
So Madam Chair?
Yes, so there's that potential.
Yep.
Yes,
So we're not looking at the use today, we are
Right.
looking at the violation notice, whether or not the inspector was arbitrary or capricious when he cited them. We do have an attorney here if you wanted to hear the.
right. I think we were just trying to address some of the concerns that the councilman had, so,
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
Madam Chair, the councilman did raise his hand again.
Yes,
So you know.
Councilman Harrison, go ahead.
Thank you again, members of the board. What I just in closing, because I need to get back to committee. I'm spending a lot of time on this morning, but as we heard from the appellant and his attorney, that what they thought was clean, the material that came to the site truly was not clean material, which created the situation that we had. It is not fair to the people who occupy other parcels or buildings or businesses around this property here. It is not fair to them that we allow this to continue. The only reason that the situation died down was because the cold weather set in. That is the only reason. The only reason. Yes, they began to remove some of the materials as we've seen, but however, it did not immediately stop the situation. It was not until the cold weather began to set in where we began to see some relief in that neighborhood from the infestation that had been occurring for months there on that site between 79th and 82nd Street. I asked the board as I go back to committee here, I'm actually downstairs, I just stepped out. As I go back to committee, that they are not allowed more time to address the violation notice, that they are remanded back to building and housing for it to continue to go through the process, whether they end up in housing court or so forth, that they do not receive any more time. They've been aware of this problem from the summer of last year and has not done anything meaningful to address the situation that we have here today. And if that means that I need to change the zoning for this area to not allow it, then so be it, then I'll do it. So thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm going to mute myself and go back into committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Good to see you again.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Well, I have two things to say, but first, my question. Do we have the authority to grant extended time on this? As I think I heard Ms. Kukla say, it's really responding to whether the
Right.
permit was issued correctly.
Right.
Right,
Correct.
without anything, not about giving extra time.
Right.
So that's my question, and maybe we would have law
Right.
weigh in on that. And then my statement is that I actually will need to recuse myself, at least I think I should. I am under contract being the interim director at
Right.
St. Clair Superior Development Corporation, which has this service
Right.
area. So I think it would be inappropriate if I voted on this.
I understand. Do you want to respond to the question about the legal issue of extension?
Doesn't appear that there's an ability to extend it here. I mean, normally with these, I mean, we can postpone things, but you know what I mean? We can postpone it to a later date,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know that you can really extend the violation.
So the counsel for the appellant has asked for an extension. We've heard from the councilman. We've discussed the issues with regard to the councilman's concern. But the issue before us is really the violation notice and if it was issued correctly.
Which
So,
the appellant does not dispute.
right,
So,
yeah. So there we go.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
there's one more layer to it, perhaps the inspector could answer too. If the applicant applies for the permit, I believe that does give them some time to complete the process. So in a way that's baked into the process already, we would essentially give them time, I guess, to the inspector, if they apply, how long will they have to close out that permit or comply with that code?
Well, technically, there is nothing holding back from moving forward with court proceedings, except for these appeals. The both are ones obviously holding up. I believe they've also filed in Board of Building Standards. So
Okay.
either way, I'm not going to be moving forward until that's at least heard through the Board of Building Standards.
okay,
And as long as the application's in and things are progressing to getting our use permit in compliance, I mean, then it becomes more of a maintenance issue as far as the bugs and the washing.
Have you
Unfortunately.
applied for the permit?
Going to, as I mentioned, there was a question of whether this contract was going to continue.
right,
And so he didn't want to spend, $20,000 on a new 6-foot high board-on-board fence if he couldn't use it. And from what we heard, there may be some objection to that. So, but he's intending to apply and, if necessary, we can go down the hall and try to get that going.
Yeah, you're conveniently in the building today.
So what I
Yeah,
think I'm hearing is.
Right.
One, there's no indication to me, at least from our legal counsel, that we have any ability to extend. So our choices as the board are to determine whether the decision by the city was illegal, capricious, et cetera.
Yeah.
Or not. Or if the appellant who has filed this appeal is going to, you're not disputing that that the violation was correct. You've said that you were in violation. So you're not saying, you have not testified that the city's decision was illegal and capricious.
We are not challenging the issuance of the notice. of
Yes,
violation.
so what you would like to do is come into compliance with the law and
Right.
obtain the permit that you need. And so the third option, I believe, would be for the appellant to withdraw the appeal. Is that correct?
Mhm.
And then follow. I'm sorry. And then we would not render decision. Is that
You would
accurate?
agree with that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so
okay.
those are your options.
Yes, so two things, we will not withdraw the appeal. I do think one of the options the board has is to grant a reasonable period of time. Most municipalities in Northeast Ohio, you can both challenge the issuance, but also request additional time. This is your administrative body to get some relief from the code. That's what the charter provides, and so that's what we availed ourselves of. If the board doesn't feel like we've presented enough evidence to support a request for continuance, then I guess you deny the appeal. But I do think it is an option under your charter. But whether you feel that we've presented the appropriate evidence, that's obviously your decision. We're trying to do right by the city. Obviously,
Right.
we found out there's a problem. We've filed the BBS appeal. We filed the BZA appeal. We're gonna go try to get the appropriate permits. You've got our attention.
Right. Okay, any other questions, thoughts?
I guess I'm curious if you guys have had any contact with the councilman in terms of your efforts and what you're doing here, because, I think it's important to have these conversations with the councilman and get on the same page there.
We have not, and maybe that's something that we should.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, because that was my thought as well. He's pretty adamantly opposed to this.
Sure.
So typically, we always like, particularly in these kinds of situations, for you to have a meeting and see if you can work things through with them. Ms. Holzer, any thoughts, questions? No? All right. All right, board, what would you like to do?
I am
Ms. Roque is doing research.
just taking a second look at our charter here.
Given the recusal, why don't you just postpone it till a later date? Because now they risk having.
Right, well, they accepted moving forward with 4 people before Ms. Brown arrived, but then recused herself, so.
Madam Chair, it still is an option if the applicant requests, if the board wants to vote on the request to postpone, if he feels that he may want to submit more information. So that might be a reason.
But that postpones this violation
Right.
case. It doesn't postpone. So you'll have to come back before us again if you postpone.
That's correct.
And not address the use, just address the violation.
Yes.
Right,
Like I said, we're here.
you'd like
Agree.
us to go ahead and move
Yes.
forward.
Yes, and like I said, if we deny the appeal, then, we're gonna
Okay,
probably stop at 514 or 517. Yeah,
okay,
so.
all right, okay,
Okay, so he wants a decision.
yep, okay. So I'll entertain a motion, whoever would like to do
Um,
that.
Where's my? All right, Madam Chair, based on the testimony that we've heard today, from all parties, I move that we affirm the the administration's decision in calendar number 23-214.
Okay. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. All right, would you like to call the vote?
Sure. Ms. Brown?
Oh, I'm not.
She's recused.
Ms. Holder?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
So calendar number 23-214 is denied. The decision of the City of Cleveland has been affirmed. This will be ratified next Monday, and we will send the.
Thank you.
Okay,
Madam
thank you,
Chair.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we still have Councilman Starr on with us?
We do.
All right.
Oh, Monroe, not Monroe.
Yeah.
Mr. Monroe.
I'm begging calling him. You guys should call the council.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's been some occasions, hasn't gone well, but we'll try to get back on track.
Yeah, see if you can work through that, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Pass those down the list, please. All right, we have Councilman Starr with us, so we'll move on to calendar number 23-204.
Sure thing. Our next case is calendar number 23-204. This is a violation notice at 5222 Ham Avenue. Jermaine Brown, owner, appeals under the authority of section 76-6 of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and section 329.02D of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances from notice of violation number B230-28280 issued on October 26, 2023 by the Department of Building and Housing for failure to comply with section 327.02C of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances, which states that there shall be no change, substitution, or extension in the use of any building or premises until the required use permit and certificate of occupancy has been issued by the Division of Building and Housing. A 6 foot high solid privacy fence has been erected in the actual side street property line within 15 feet of where the driveway intersects with public right of way, and refuse containers are being stored on the sidewalk. This was filed November 13, 2023. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Okay. Looks like there's no one in person, so if you are online to speak in this case, please. Oh, you are. Please come on up to the table. Good. How are you? Okay, I am going to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand, reply with I do, your name and your address.
I do. My name is Marquetta Town, and my address is 5222 Ham Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44127. I'm here because Jermaine couldn't make it.
Okay. And is there anyone online who wishes to speak in this case?
Yes, Councilman Richard Starr, 601 Lakeside Avenue.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else online? Back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you for the spelling of your name for the court reporter, please.
Yes, ma'am. It's MARQUETTATOWNSEND.
And do you have, what is your relationship to Mr. Brown?
That is my boyfriend, but he's away, but I do have power of attorney. He's
Okay,
away right
all right. Did you submit documentation to our secretary so that you can act on his behalf?
No, they just told me to they told me to put the bill in, and they said that I could come sit in if he don't make it back in time.
Okay, all right. Liz, are we gonna want a letter?
Yes, we can get a copy of that.
Okay, great. All right, you'll submit that to our secretary, Ms. Kugla.
With the paper, the power of attorney.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, do you have anything, any input, any other information, Liz, on this?
No, we haven't received anything.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Helen is appealing a violation notice from the Department of Building and Housing, The standard of review to be applied is whether the administrative decision is illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by a preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If the appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
Thank you. Maurice, the fence is in the top left. Is that the house behind it then?
I believe the residence is the house in front,
Okay.
with
Okay,
the two cars in the driveway.
okay.
That's the house.
But of course, the
It's like a
applicant
ranch
would know.
style house with two cars in the front. I'm on my vehicles. That's the front of the house right there. It's like a ranch style house.
Okay, so go ahead and tell us what's going on.
Okay. It started, I want to say like 2 years ago. We were getting complaints about the dogs or whatever. We have cane corsos. And then to the right of us, if you can see past the barn we have, it was a boarding house and they have mentally ill people staying there. And they would throw stuff in their yard and mess with the dogs and we were getting complaints. So Mr. Brown had to go down to the court justice center for the dogs, which, they found out what was going on. The landlord of the boarding home, he said he understood and he would try to keep them out the yard. So the judge ordered Mr. Brown to get a 6-foot high fence because of the dogs. And they stated it would be good because where we stay at is a church across the street. We trying to find out it's a church and his kids come back and forth through there because it's a store over there. And then vehicles has been stolen off the yard. Dogs has been poisoned. We don't try to bother nobody. We just try to make it where there wouldn't be no issues or anything. So when we came down to get the permit for the barn that's on the yard, no one ever told us, because the fence was already up, that we had to have a fence. We wasn't trying to break any laws or go against anything anybody said. But when you have a judge telling you, well, hey, throw a 6-foot privacy fence up with everything that you got going on and with the dogs, like a lady, she didn't know no better. She was messing with the dog. And my daughter was walking down the street and the dog, he was because he was walking up on my daughter, but then nothing happened. The neighbors wrote letters and everything. So that's when they stated, just put a privacy fence up so y'all won't, nobody bothering y'all yard, nothing goes on, and the dogs is protected and your home is protected. We don't bother nobody, we try to keep it up. And about the cans that was in front of the house, the guy that cleaned up, he put them in front, but he forgot to put them back. That's how that went. We didn't try to go against anybody. We even had to get a permit for the barn. When we came, nobody said we had to have a permit for the fence. There's so many people around there, they never said they even had a permit for their fence. They just said, oh, put the fence up. Then when the judge stayed, you should get a 6-foot privacy fence because the large dogs that y'all have. We didn't think nothing of it.
Do you have anything in writing from the judge, from the court,
I don't
with
think-
that decision?
I don't think he have it, but they did a video visit, so I don't know if y'all can pull the records. Jermaine and the judge did a video visit, and that's what he told him to do. But it's in the courts because they did a video visit, and the judge recommended he just put the fence up and protect everybody.
And how many dogs do you have?
It is 1, 2, 4.
4 cane corsos, all
Yes,
cane
ma'am.
corsos?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. All right, so you weren't aware you needed to pull permit?
No, ma'am, we wouldn't have did that because when we got the permit for the barn that was on the thing, we would have known, but when we came, nobody said nothing about it. We didn't try to go against anybody or do anything out the way. We didn't know. We did not know. And I have been trying to pull a permit, but I didn't try to write it up myself. I don't know how to do it. And with the snow and with money issues, we're trying to get the permit or whatever. But when I just came down here, they said they couldn't accept the one that I had because it had to be did a different way. But that's the permit that we used to get the barn. So I'm not trying to go against anybody. We're just trying to keep ourselves safe and the people with the church and kids. There's a lot of kids in the area.
Right,
That was it.
particularly with the 4 dogs.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
is a concern.
Big dogs.
Yeah, yes. Councilman Starr, do you wish to make comment at this point?
Yes, I know Mr. Brown isn't in. I couldn't remember the ma'am who just was speaking. What's her name?
Marquetta Thompson.
Hey, Ms. Thompson.
Hello.
I seen this was coming up, so I did take a ride along Ham Avenue, which is in our Broadway South Village area. of my ward. One thing I would just definitely just point out, the fact that we do have permits in place so we can make sure that the renovation and the construction of the work is being completed is in accordance with, the local laws that we have in place. The reason why we have permits is so we can know what is actually going on, and it won't be something that is surprised by my office or either from building housing department. So I know that this issue was found back in October of last year. Is that true to the committee or anyone? Did the violation from the inspector come out from October?
Yes. Yes,
And then
October
from that
26th.
standpoint, October 26th. Okay.
Yes.
So just to the resident, I would definitely say, when did you actually install this fence? When was that? I know you said you spoke to a judge and the judge might have asked you to put one up. But did the judge give you advice or did you receive any advice on how to do it? Because if people just start throwing up fence and start doing up things, next thing you know, it becomes more of a burden for the building housing inspectors to keep up with that. So I'm just trying to get a sense of when this judge asked you to put up a fence, and did the judge tell you anything about how to go about it? Because if someone tell me to put up a fence, I would my next thought would be, how do I do this, or should I just go put a fence up myself? Me, I'm not a construction guy or a person, so I wouldn't just try to go do that. I would try to think about what I need to do just from my standpoint, and I definitely want to definitely provide some grace, but also understanding why we have permits in place and why we have building housing and inspectors there for the work that they do.
When he went down there, that was like, I want to say the end of year before last. And no, we didn't get any insight on it because I'm gonna be honest with you. It's so many people in the neighborhood that they put up fences and we didn't think anything of it when the judge ordered to get a fence. And when we had came down to get the permit for the barn and we told them to fence up there, we didn't have no common knowledge. Like I said, again, we didn't know. And it's plenty of times since I got you on here that I have called and tried to report things that was going on. And I never got a call back about things that was going on. But again, we did not know. Yes, maybe we should have did more research, but we just tried to do what we could to protect the neighborhood and ourselves. So we was not trying to go against anybody. We was just told, Judge, hey, put the fence up and that blocks from, we protect y'all and protect everyone else. And no, we didn't know, because I'm not gonna sit here and tell a story. It's people that's put them up all the time. And we put our own fence up, so no, I didn't know, and I apologize for that. We didn't do research.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem with that. I'm definitely going to check my call records and stuff like that. And I definitely will reach out to you all offline. So just to the committee, within a short time period, I do not have no issues with this current fencing. Just as long as Ms. Thomas, Margaret, I believe, as well as Mr. Brown, have whatever building and housing need from them in place. I definitely supportive any decision that the committee makes, meaning I do not want them to have to go and re-tear down the fence. I just want to make sure the fence is in compliance of what the city and building housing require for fences at this moment in time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. All right, board, any questions or
problem.
comments?
Madam Chair, just one question. I heard there was some talk about a barn.
Sure.
And is that your barn?
Yes.
And you said you had to get a permit of some sort?
Yes.
Was the fence up when you had to?
Yes,
get a
ma'am.
permit? So the inspector who came out to inspect the barn saw the fence up?
I don't think nobody came out to see the barn, because when we came down to get the permit, they said that we had to do it. So what happened was Tough Shed, that we bought it from, they helped us to go through and get the permit. So I don't know how they did that process, but the fence was up and they said we had to have a 14-foot opening, like they said when we looked it up. We looked online, you do some research online and say we're supposed to have. But we did come down here and they knew that we had it, but they just said we had to redraw it up even better. But by the time you redraw it up, Tough Shed just went on and said they will go through and apply for the permit. So that's how it worked.
Interesting, okay, thank you for that.
Anyone else? Maurice, do you know who the city planner is for this area?
I'm not 100% sure actually on this.
Kenya Gray.
Ah.
What?
Kenya Gray.
Okay. What's her last name?
No, it's a guy, Kenya
Oh.
Gray, Gray,
Oh, Gray.
like
Right.
Councilwoman Gray.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other questions or comments, board? I'll entertain a motion.
City,
We don't weigh in.
we haven't heard from the city at all.
They don't weigh in on violations.
They usually, I mean, they just did in the last one.
Maurice didn't chime in on that.
No, not from the building and housing. We don't have anybody who's weighing in.
Oh, from building and housing.
Well, that would, I don't know.
Is
Yeah.
anybody online?
Rick Riccardi, but he's not an inspector.
No.
Okay, so the city is not testifying.
Right.
Okay.
May I
So-
ask Ms. Thompson a question?
Yes.
Aside from the fence matter, what we have on our calendar is that you are placing your trash and
That's-
recycling
that's what I
bins on the sidewalk.
That's why I just spoke of. The guy that comes and, you know, clean up my yard and stuff, he's, put them up there. But it didn't get put up in time. That's not where they're being left at. They're being left on the side or inside the fence. It was just that time when they came, they were out there because the guy was cleaning up and he left. And he left them out there. And that's what happened.
So that was a snapshot in time.
Yes, yes, ma'am. It
Not
was.
typical.
It's not typically done.
Okay.
I like to
I
keep
mean,
my
you could
yard.
keep it by your car or something.
No, what I do is,
Mhm.
like I said, it's a boarding system. And I try to keep as much as everything out the way. I hate to have to keep my cars out there, but I put it inside the fence because it's a lot of traffic go through. It's kids, we have a church,
Okay,
it's drug addicts, it's a lot. So I just try to keep everything put up.
okay.
And that's why we got the fence, because the car was even stolen.
Madam Chair, I can attest, I took the pictures. There were no garbage cans, containers
Out there at that
anywhere
time, yeah.
visible, so they were completely gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you amenable? I mean, I think you said you're willing to make modifications to the fence to be in compliance.
They just told us just get the permit because by it being the 6 foot, they said get a permit. I'm okay with doing what I can. I'm trying the best with the winter. I mean, even if somebody even got any idea of who I could talk to get a site plan so
Well,
that I
that's-
can get the permit.
That's why I asked about the city planner, because I think what we're gonna do is, well, we're gonna have to make a vote on this, because this is just a violation notice. But then we'll put you in touch with the city planner
Yeah.
so that, you can work with them to make sure that you're in compliance.
Oh, I'm all for that. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Madam Chair,
Committee-
Councilman, sorry.
yes,
Yes,
Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to give, it's Miss Margaret, right?
Marquetta?
Marquetta, my
Marquetta.
fault. I'm gonna give you my cell phone. Please give me a call later on today and I'll work with you with Kenya Gray to see what all we need to do. If you got a
Thank
pen,
you.
I'll give you my cell phone.
I can put it in my phone right now.
All right.
Are you sure you want to?
Are you
216
sure? We're on a public feed,
Okay,
Councilman.
want to write it down for me then?
Why don't can you put it in the chat and then we'll capture it and
Yeah.
pass it along?
That's still public.
This is
No
being streamed
problem.
on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's my cell. I'm not
All right.
worried.
Your
Just
choice.
warning you.
Your
Look,
choice.
they call you on social media nowadays. They call you on your personal line.
Yeah,
So they
that's
call me on
true.
this number.
Anyway,
I ain't gonna
they
trip.
can get you.
Very
Google's
exciting.
got it, Google's got it, everything.
I don't want
stalk you
people
from
saying they can't get in
Facebook.
contact. I don't. I don't want people
Go
saying they
ahead.
can't get in contact with Councilman Star.
All
216
right.
857
Uh-huh.
7827.
Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you,
right, give me a call.
Councilman.
I'll be expecting it and I'll work with you. Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
all right. we have to move forward with a vote on this, and then, I think we've got next step set up for you, so I'll entertain a motion, board. Alicia, you wanna take this?
I always feel like I moved the wrong way with the administrative. So
We're affirming or reversing?
Yes.
yeah, so given that the containers were stored as a one-time basis, that there was an inspection of the property and, you know, the violation then was not cited, I am going to move that we reverse the decision and not affirm.
I have a question. If we don't affirm though, does she still need to go to B&H and get a permit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Get a permit, or she get another violation, right?
Right.
Okay.
I'm not
Right?
sure of that.
No.
I
No?
don't think
No,
this happened last time.
yeah, this happened we have to affirm, we'd have to affirm the city's decision and then she can go with a permit. Is that correct?
And then get a permit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would,
You say no.
I
Okay,
don't know.
Cause there was another case where this happened, the one where there was in West Park, where there was a fence that went up to the street. And then we did not affirm, and then they did not have to go back.
right, I remember
That's
that.
not what I'm trying to do. I'm
Yep.
trying to make it so that there could be a permit
Yes, so we,
requested.
to do that, we would have to affirm, so we would have to
Right,
hold that the city's decision was not illegal or arbitrary, that they did in fact have the proper authority to issue the violation, so we would affirm their decision. Then the appellant would have to go back to the city and work with them to get a permit.
Okay, Madam Chair, I would strike what I just said.
certainly.
And I am now gonna move to affirm the city's violation notice,
Okay,
so that she can get a permit for
I will
that.
second.
all right. Ms.
Board Member
Roca
Roca
seconds.
seconds.
So we'll call the vote.
thank you. Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Holter?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Order 23-20439, the decision of the city of Cleveland has been upheld. This will be ratified next Monday and we will send the appellant to.
So what did that mean?
So, so here's the bits of business you have to take care of. You have to get the POA paperwork to Ms. Kukla,
Power of attorney.
power of attorney, so that you can handle this on behalf of Mr. Brown,
Mhm.
okay? So that's one bit of
You
information.
can just email it
do.
to her.
Yeah, you can email it. And then what it means is the decision has been upheld and the violation has been upheld, which means your next step then is to, that's why the councilman so publicly gave his phone number to you, so you can get in touch with him. And we're also gonna have you get a hold of Kenya Gray, who is he's the city planner for your area.
It's like that's what he was talking about, having the city planner.
Right, so that
So
will,
One more thing.
yes,
You heard the case before us, and they're going to go pull a permit.
You can go do that today.
Application for a permit today.
I did that. I done been down here like 5 times. And they just keep sending me about my business and said, just wait till I get here. I even got the paper. One of the things, I've been down here so many times.
So what
Madam Chair,
happens when you
help
get
her?
the
Because-
permit?
Yeah.
They don't give you a permit when you submit the application?
No, because she doesn't have the right attachments.
Yes.
Right.
They just,
Okay. so
Right.
then-
I done been down here like 5 or 6 times.
right. So that's why we're gonna give you, we're gonna get you to Mr. Gray
Mhm.
so that you can get some assistance.
And the councilman's
And the
gonna help you
councilman's gonna
as
help
well.
you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
one more
Okay,
thing.
yes,
Straight down
right,
the hall is where city planning is. Go see if Kenya Gray is there today.
Okay.
And leave your name in there.
Okay. Kenya Gray.
right. Okay,
Thank you.
What
All
you
right.
need help with is creating a proper site plan. It sounds like you've submitted some that doesn't have everything that you need, or
Yes.
the right measurements. So you'll need something that has accurate measurements and location of everything. He can help you sort that out.
Okay?
And then y'all gonna inform them too, let them know that I'm coming.
He should,
No, just walk.
yeah, it's, if you go out the door, straight down the hall, to the doors at the other end of the hall,
It says
Yeah,
city
you see them as
director.
soon as you open the
It's right
door,
there.
the other door's at the other end.
and that's
Okay.
where you go, there's somebody at the desk there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Just tell them that you need to speak to Kenny Gray. All right? And that'll get you moving forward.
Okay.
So, all right?
All right.
Thank you, and I'll get some in the mail from y'all.
You probably will
Yeah.
get something in the mail from us, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll send you a letter.
How do I go by email?
Let me give you my card.
Thank you all for everything. I said.
Certainly. Yep, that's it.
Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank y'all.
We don't want to send you away empty-handed.
Thank you. I'm trying. We didn't try to go against anybody. I'm trying to correct.
Well, I know that. You got to take care of those doggies.
Right. Thank y'all all so much.
All right. Thank you. Any other council people, Maurice?
I did not see any. I will double check.
Thank you, Councilman Starr.
Thank you.
He's still
Thank
on.
you.
No, we don't have any other council people.
All right. So we'll move on to 23-215. Ms. Wilson is recused.
Our next case is calendar number 23-215. This is at 738 East 117th Street. JRA-1 LLC proposes to change the use from a two-family dwelling to a three-family dwelling in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public records, of which there are two. And then who would like to do the oath given? Ms.
Well, I
Wilson?
think Ms. Wilson can still do the oath, right?
If I'm accused?
Do
I
you
would
wanna-
do it.
All right, Ms. Brown will do the oath.
All right. Thank you.
No one in the room, so is the person online?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. So I am swearing you in, and anyone else who may be present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, then state your name and address, please.
I do. Ryan Talley, 738 East 117th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 4108.
Anyone else for this case? Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have the history of the property, please?
Sure, Madam Chair, there's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our records administration office, we found that in 1960, permit was issued to erect a 2.5-story dwelling and garage. And then further in the records administration, we found that in, sorry, Madam Chair, I apologize. In 1984, there were permits to correct violations to a dwelling regarding exterior issues. That in 2001, there were violations issued to the property regarding, and at that time it was condemned. We do see that there were electrical and other permits issued in 2007 to correct those issues. I'm sure we did see that there was also a variance case on this, in calendar 68-767. This board granted a variance to expand two dwelling units to include 4 boarders and roomers on the 3rd floor, contrary to the parking requirements.
Can you
So it
repeat that?
wasn't-
I'm sorry.
So it wasn't a full unit, it was just to expand, to renovate the 3rd floor to allow
Okay.
some living space.
And when was that?
That was
68.
1968.
And it was expanded to 2 dwelling units at that point,
It was
Liz?
2 dwelling units, but they were, rehabbing the 3rd floor to expand to allow for living space up there.
So the second floor actually occupied the second and the third floor?
That's correct, but there were no cooking facilities that were, established at that time.
So third floor was meant to be just sleeping rooms?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, legal standard?
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code and a special permit for remodeling to provide for more than 2 dwelling units. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the special permit upon prescribing proper safeguards to preserve the character of the neighborhood, the board must determine that the square feet of the lot area to be allotted to each dwelling unit is in accordance with the area regulations included in chapter 355, that the dwelling units to be created will not be smaller than 2 rooms and a bathroom, that there will be no exterior evidence that a remodeled dwelling house is occupied by more than 2 families, except as may be permitted by the board, that the building, when altered and occupied, will conform to all applicable building provisions of the building and housing codes, and that there is garage or hard surfaced and drained parking space for at least 1 car per family on the premises.
Okay. Mr. Talley, tell us what you'd like to do here. What's going on with this?
So my client was sold the property under the premises that it was a 3rd livable unit. As of right now, there are no utility measures for the 3rd floor. So it is just at the moment in addition to the 2nd floor. We would like to get the property rezoned for a triplex, from a duplex to a triplex.
Okay, well, so we don't rezone, we just give you a variance for the existing zoning, just a point of clarification.
Thank you.
And as you heard, there was a variance in 1968 to expand the 3rd floor into the 2nd floor unit. And as you stated, there are no separate utilities running to the 3rd floor, correct?
Correct.
All right. Okay. I'll open it up to questions or comments.
Well, my question was gonna be to see the floor plan, which is now up on the screen. And it clearly has sufficient room to meet the requirement. So my next question, Mr. Talley, is about parking. How many parking spaces can be accommodated on your property?
The back pad can fit 3 cars, as stated in the previous case, 1 per family, and there is also street parking available. And to add, the 3rd floor does have a joint entrance with the 2nd floor, but it does have a separate entry, front and rear door to the unit by itself as well.
Okay, anything else?
No, ma'am.
Board, any other questions or comments? City planning, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Maurice Rowland, City Planning. This applicant seems to be, have a complete plan to renovate the entire structure. Have you, the applicant, have you obtained a management company to help you with managing of the property?
I am the managing company on behalf of the owner, JRod1/Matthew Lanucci.
And do you manage other properties as well?
Yes, I do.
Okay. As far as the parking, I don't really, this is a dead end street. It's a short dead end street. When I was out there, I didn't see an overabundance of cars. I don't think the parking is an issue at all in this particular neighborhood. I would recommend approval. It would be nice to see this house renovated and put back into use. And the 3rd floor is actually a very large floor from,
yeah.
as you know, we see these all the time. And
Right.
I've never seen a 2-bedroom 3rd floor with a living room and everything like this one is. I think it's, yeah, and a dining room. So I think it's totally appropriate. And it's not, like I said, it's nice to see the house put back to use again.
Thank you.
I have one question, and this is probably for Mr. Riccardi. I just want to confirm that if we grant the special permit variance, that the city will work with this appellant to make sure that all of the requirements of section 33703 are met. Is that correct?
Mr. Riccardi, if the variance is granted, there will be no zoning issues. And the zoning will be approved based on the variance. And it will just be, it will then be reviewed for the building code. So I guess the answer to that is correct. It'll be moved on for zoning.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I mean, we are not going through each subsection in that code section, and I want to make sure that that's okay.
Right.
So I think that answers my question.
Okay, you're good?
Yeah.
All right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to also know if the owners or the management entity if they had any conversation with Councilman Conwell.
No, we have not.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That all?
That's it.
All right. Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Ms. Holzer, would you like to take this?
Sure. Having heard testimony from the appellant, or the management company working with the owner, and city planning, I move approval of calendar number 23-215.
All right, do I have a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
Thank you. Ms. Kukla, if you'd like to call the vote?
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-215 is granted to be ratified next Monday, and we will send the appellant a letter. Please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for further instruction.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kukla, do you need a letter from the owner authorizing?
We have one.
You have one?
If the appellant can forward us a new copy of that, that would be
All
great.
right. Mr. Talley, if you would just email our secretary a letter from the owner authorizing you to act on his behalf as the management company, please. And that's all we need from you. You're good to go.
Thank you. I submitted one to the board
She has
before.
it.
Oh,
She has it.
She has it. Never mind.
She found it.
She located it. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck with the project.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
You as well.
Thank you.
Moving on to calendar number 23-217.
Our next case is calendar number 23-217. This is at 11310 Wade Park Avenue. Case Western Reserve University. Owner proposes to change use and renovate an existing historic residential building into a community engagement center in an 8A-1 limited one-family district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Okay, I will swear in all who are present for this case. I will have you raise your right hand, reply with I do, and state your name and address. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give is the truth and nothing but the truth? So you have it. I'll start with you.
Yes, Kim Scott, City Planning, 601 Lakeside Avenue, room 501.
Thank you.
I do. Julian Rogers, 1606 Compton Road, Cleveland Heights, 44118.
I do. Joanne Brown with Case Western Reserve, 10620 Cedar Avenue.
I do. Barbara Wilshire Norton, 11305 Wade Park Avenue.
You. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak in this matter? Okay, hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
Barbara, I didn't catch your last name.
Wilcher, Wilcher -Norton, in R-T-O-N.
Thank you.
And Mr. Rogers, your first name again?
Julian, Julian.
Great, thank you so much. Just want to make sure we have it for the court reporter.
No D in Rogers.
Thank you.
That's why we ask.
That's why we asked. That's exactly why we asked. All right, who's going to be the spokesperson?
I'm going to start first. Joanne Brown with Planning and Design at the university, an architect. And what I'd like to do is just walk you through what we've done to date. So.
Yes.
Legal standard,
Oh, so sorry.
sorry.
That's okay.
I was distracted by your pen.
Oh, that's great.
I have a little jewelry.
So now we have, is that the trick? You just have to wear a good pen.
Exactly, yeah. I.
Distracted by shiny things.
Exactly, just what I was gonna say, shiny things.
That's right, it's all out there.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Great, thank you. All right,
Madam Chair, would you like the history as well?
yes, that too.
In our records administration office, we found that in 1924, a permit was issued to erect a dwelling addition and a garage. And then in 1961, a permit was issued to enclose a single-family dwelling. And also in 1961, a variance was granted to change use from single-family to a church. And then, Madam Chair, we see that in our more recent records, we found that in 2009, there were commercial interior alterations to the property. I believe that's all that we have.
Okay, no previous variances, huh?
Just the one, I'm sorry, I mean, I read the calendar number, 70-392.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now.
Great.
Sorry.
What you see on the
You
screen.
want the changer to go through your PowerPoint? That's forward.
Okay, great. What you see on the screen right now, that red star represents the location of the property that we're talking about. So this is on our most northern edge along Wade Park Drive. The university purchased this property quite a few years ago, and most recently has engaged a use of a community center for that. So, and I may click through some of these. This is just the aerial of the property. Oops. I guess I pressed it a little hard. This is a front view of the property as it exists today. Basically what our scope is to not only repair any disrepair in the facility, but we've gone through both landmarks in the Wade County, Magnolia Wade District, and have gotten approval for this. We have submitted to the building department, and we have received from zoning a notice of noncompliance, which has gotten us to this point. So the scope is to demolish an existing garage. That actually has fallen down and been completed. So we did salvage some of the brick to be able to use on the house where we are doing some infills. We do plan on vacating East 114th, which is directly to the left of this. It's a former brick pathway, still a public road. It serves just as the driveway right now to this facility. The conditional use for the business or for the school use, which we're here today for, renovate the exterior structure. You'll see in the next picture, there's a major modification, and this was also suggested and approved by Landmarks. And then the interior, we're renovating it for the purposes of using it as a Wade Center, community center, new parking lot lighting, accessible ramp, and landscaping. So you'll see those things in some future. What I want to show you here is to notice that the photo on the left, as you're looking at this, does not have that second story porch above those front windows. And one of the recommendations from Landmarks and even the Wade Magnolia design review was to get back to the original intent of the building. So we do plan on demoing that. It's really kind of a three-purpose room. It doesn't have a lot of heat. It had been added, obviously, at one time. This is just showing you some of the adjacent properties, as well as you can see the condition of that street, the 114. Those are both facilities that are owned by the university, a dormitory, as well as a house that we use for student housing. This is just showing you the property again. This is a site plan that is indicating what we plan on doing. So what I'd like to point out here is we do definitely understand and respect the residential feel of this neighborhood. And in doing so, we wanted to put any parking and activity like that into the rear so that we weren't encroaching and you still have that front yard appeal. So what you're seeing are parking spaces there for mostly the tenants or the users of the university that are going to be there. There is ADA parking, and then kind of up in that center area is the top of.
There's, it doesn't light.
Oh, it doesn't light up,
work on
okay.
LCD
But you'll see there's a square, and that's a handicap ramp, and it would be kind of to the upper left of the building itself. And you'll see this a little more.
Right here, right?
No, actually over a little more into the center.
Over here? Oh, you mean in
To the
here?
right, to the right. There's a tree.
Oh, here.
Yes, sir. Just to the right of that is a new handicap ramp.
Oh, okay.
To go into the building, which is shown there in the darker blue gray tone.
Okay.
Okay, that shows it a little more. The existing building is whited out. This is showing that just enlarged. We do maintain for maintenance person for reasons of maintenance, we're going to use truck decks as well as a aluminum railing to match what's existing. This is just a landscaping plan, so you can see we do plan on putting some bushes and some nice landscape around. Lighting. This is just in these following 4 photos, just really depict what we're doing in more detail, pointing out the elements that are being removed. You can see there that where there's a lot of the red dash, we are removing that second story porch. This would be the back or the rear, so the parking would be in front of what you see right there. We are planning to do all new windows. We are planning to do a new roof. And obviously any brickwork that needs to be done, tuck pointing, et cetera, will occur. The building had a lot of entries and exits historically. So the one that you see front and center kind of here, we are proposing to remove that door and steps, and you'll see in our floor plan that that's going to be utilized as a public restroom. That's the side. That is the front door. We are definitely looking to restore that, get that a little in compliance, putting new electrical fixtures there by the doors that are decorative in nature, replacing the stoop and a new railing. These are just some architectural renderings. And this is the floor plan. So what I'd like to point out here, and Julie can explain a little more on the programmatic elements, if you have questions, is the first floor is mostly a public floor. We have a large meeting room and other pre-function meeting areas, as well as you can see down in the lower left-hand corner is that ADA restroom. So the purpose of this and having the ADA compliant ramp in the back and access into there is really that this becomes the public space where we have community events. The second floor, we're looking to have more of our offices of the folks that will be running the center and working with the community members. It is accessible by stairs, but that's going to be kind of the more private versus the public areas. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the functions of the space?
So we're, one of the things, we recently created a neighborhood advisory council. So this will be their primary meeting space. We're also looking to, you see meeting room 2, that's designed to be not only a small meeting room for community residents that may want to have a gathering space, but it will also be as what we're calling a Zoom room for anyone that that has limited internet access and may need to do job interviews or telehealth appointments, can be conducted there. There's a little kitchenette and another small meeting room for space. But what we ultimately are looking to do is we have a lot of activities that we do in partnership with the community that are done in various places. This gives all of those activities a home. For example, we have our law clinic that does expungement clinics. And the last time they did one was at a McDonald's. So this will give an opportunity to have a permanent space for those types of activities.
And what's the target market for this? Is it, I mean, who are you, excuse me?
It's primarily the neighborhoods that are surrounding our campus. So we're looking at Glenville, Huff, Fairfax, Little Italy.
So not so much directed at the students, but really, truly the
Well, what's nice
community
about the
members.
location of this is, right on the outskirts of our campus. So it's easy for our students to get to. It's also a more welcoming and easier place for community residents to get to. So we really see this as a place of interaction between the community and our students.
That's great. Okay. And do you have anything else you'd like to add?
We are, the community, neighbor to neighbor, is in favor of this, actually worked with the university to try to get it done since they purchased the property as opposed to demolishing it, which was their original intent. We are in support of it in terms of its use and recognizing the importance that, and you clarified that earlier when you said you don't change zoning, you give the variance for that one particular property.
Right.
We are in constant battle of trying to keep our limited single-family residential designation. So, but the residents are in support of it. We think it will be a good addition.
Excellent. Okay. And Ms. Scott, do you have anything to add?
Sure. City planning is very much in support of this. This has been a long road to get to this point. I believe at one point, and it was made before, that the property was intended to be demolished, and we were not in support of that. And so with a lot of push and pull, here we are now with a great plan, I think, to have this property serve as a benefit to the community as well as the students, faculty, staff of the university. So city planning is very much in support of the variance.
Thank you. All right. Yes. I was just gonna ask.
Well, you're gonna ask everybody, but
Yeah.
I'm special
But
in this
you
case.
are. This is my thoughtful question person.
Well, I'm a former resident of Wade Park, and so I want to start by applauding Mrs. Norton for persevering. Because at the time when the property was to be demolished, there was a plan to sell it to a private developer who was going to overbuild the site. And there was definitely no interest in selling that. And I commend Kate and you, Julie, for working to come up with this use. It's outstanding. This is absolutely a good example where residents' voices were heard and together a good outcome can happen. And it didn't happen overnight.
No, I'm sure. It's been probably how many years?
And thank you, Kim, too, because you weren't in favor of the development, but there had to be an owner and a solution. So this is really a wonderful example of what can happen.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else for it?
Is this the last rendering?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at the legal standard, which requires unnecessary hardship. So can you just speak a little bit to why it would be an unnecessary hardship to keep this as a limited one-family zoning?
Well, right now with the university and in our plans for the university itself, we don't have any investment in residential other than for student growth. And the number of students that you would get if this was renovated just as a single family or a house would be very low compared to new development, et cetera. So we see that as an issue if we had to keep it as this.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No, all right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I'm happy to make that.
I thought you might.
I move that calendar 23-217 to change the use and renovate the historic property at 113, 110 Wake Park Avenue.
Could I have a second, please? Madam Chair. Oh, no, everyone rushing to second. All right.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-215 is granted. Will be ratified next Monday. We'll send you a letter. Please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for further research.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Good luck with
And
the
you can
project.
will me the pin anytime.
Good seeing everybody.
Thank you, good being.
Great project, you guys. Yeah. Well done.
Oh, you guys do want to talk about it? Oh.
What? Okay.
That was too honest.
Yes. Right. Okay, moving on to calendar number 23-219.
Our next case is calendar number 23-219. This is at 13301 Miles Avenue. Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services, Inc. proposes to install a digital sign in a C2 general retail business semi-industry split zoning district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming there's no one in the room. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak in this matter?
Do we have an appellant present for calendar number 23-219?
Hi, this is Laura Gaitis from Apex Pinnacle Services in Cleveland. We are the subcontractor for Neon Southeast Health Center.
Okay, I am going to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, your name and your address.
I do, Laura Gaitis, 1750 East 55th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 44103.
Laura, can you spell your last name for us, please?
Sure, it's G-A, J as in Joseph, D as in David, O, S as in Sam.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online who wishes to speak in this matter?
Bill Holzman.
Okay, and Bill, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please reply with I do, your name and your address.
I do. Bill Holzman, Holsman, 313 Corning Drive, Bracknell, Ohio.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in this matter? Okay, back to you, Madam Chair.
Awesome, thank you. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. We found only in our records here that in 1944, a permit was issued to erect a storage addition. Also in 1944, a permit was issued to demolish a one-story frame garage. In 1966, a permit was issued for alterations to a commercial portion of the building. 1978, a permit was issued to convert a drugstore into a bingo parlor. There's one variance on file in calendar 71-146. This was in 1971. Variance was granted to convert two offices into 2 suites for a total of 10 suites and 8 stores. And Madam Chair, I think that's all that we have that's relevant. Thank you.
All right, legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a variance to allow an automatic changeable copy sign on the premises. To obtain the variance, the board must determine that the sign will not adversely impact the character of nearby properties and will not cause disturbances to users of those properties. That the design and placement of the sign has been approved by the City Planning Commission or Landmarks Commission as applicable in accordance with the general design guidelines established for use by each commission. And that each display of information shall remain static or fixed for a minimum of 20 seconds, thereby prohibiting flashing, scrolling, animated, or other copy that gives the appearance of motion unless the City Planning Commission or Landmarks Commission, as applicable, determines that animated or more frequently changing displays can be accommodated in a particular location without causing disturbances to nearby properties.
Great, thank you. Miss Laura, are you gonna be the spokesperson?
Between me and Bill Holzman, yes.
Okay. And just as a point of business, do we have a letter from the property owner allowing you to speak on their behalf?
I did not receive one. I do not know if they submitted one to the city in a timely fashion. I do not know. They have not told me.
All right, we're checking.
Now, it doesn't see, oh, yeah, I found it.
Found it? Okay.
Thank you.
We have it in hand, so we can move forward on that. If you wanna, give us the details about what you want to do and, specifically speak to the technical aspects of the sign as it relates to the variances that you're asking for?
Okay. We are, as I stated, we are subcontracted through the owner to remove their existing wall sign and replace it with a new updated wall sign, approximate 6 foot by 4 foot. And with the wall sign, they want to establish a electronic message center as shown in the picture, or I'm sorry, 8 foot by 6 foot. We have been to 3 design review board meetings, the East Design Review Board. And my understanding is everything is approved. It was just the variance required on the message center.
And what's the nature of the messaging going to be?
The messaging will be for the purpose of the health center. It'll also be for emergency purposes only. If needed, there will be no rental of the message center to any other neighboring businesses or any personal messaging allowed. So it is just for the business.
And what are they going to be promoting on the sign?
I would have to state probably things that are going on within the medical world, such as a COVID notice or flu shots or anything along that. Pregnancy,
Okay.
anything along those lines.
Okay.
What is the underlying business? Can you give us some information about the business itself?
I believe they have 2 other locations that we are doing pole signs for. They are just updating their logo to the new blue neon Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services. They're just doing some revamping of their logo and establishing this new logo on their current buildings.
Is this a clinic or?
Madam Chair, to Member Roper, they are a federally qualified health center.
Got it, thank you.
So general health care,
General.
like an urgent care center sort of.
Like Care Alliance.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Thank
Which
you.
is very well established in the neighborhoods that their buildings are located. They're very established.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I think we need to.
The hours of operation, that's the other question.
Yes, thank you for that. We usually ask that. So, what are the planned hours of operation that the sign will be on?
I would say probably during the day. I'm not real sure about continuous. I would have to find out from the owner.
All right, typically we limit these from 7 AM to 11 PM at the maximum.
Okay.
And then will the display of information be fixed for 20 seconds?
Right, and so, a part of the variances is the text being fixed for a minimum amount of time for 20 seconds.
Readability?
Correct.
Okay.
So it has to remain static for at least 20 seconds, prohibiting flashing, scrolling, animated copy that gives the appearance of motion.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And just to confirm, you did receive approvals from City Planning Commission and or landmarks. I don't think this is in landmarks district.
No, but she said you've been to 3 or 4 design review board meetings, you said?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. City planning?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Maurice Rowland, City Planning. As you just stated, it's been to all these different committees and it's been approved the whole way. It's just that there's a piece in the code that because it's in limited retail,
Right.
we don't, the City Planning Commission can't approve that particular variance. City Planning Commission does have the ability to grant variances to larger or smaller signs, but they don't have it for granting a changeable copy sign in a limited retail district. So that's the only reason why they had to come. So we
Okay.
fully support this sign.
And if we go back to aerial view, or you can just tell me, what do we have adjacent to this building?
There's a shopping, well, I let the applicant say, but I believe there's a big shopping center on the backside of this.
Okay. Oh, is this an outbuilding in a shopping?
Kind of.
This is on Miles Avenue, the grocery store was built behind it.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird setup.
Yeah, okay.
The grocery store came later, the street front on Miles was first.
Right.
Okay,
right.
so no residential in
And the entrance is off the side street.
Okay,
That's off the
With the
map here,
parking in the
yeah.
back.
all right. Great. Thanks. Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion board.
I didn't,
You haven't done one yet, Ms. Roca.
no, I have. This would be my second.
Oh, yes, it will be your second.
However, I did not catch the time of day. 7
7 to 11, we're gonna give them.
7 AM to 11 PM.
We would need a totem to pass back and forth.
They can do less, but that'll be there.
Okay.
No, we had to- that first document we did.
All right, Madam Chair, I move that we approve calendar number 23-219 at 13301 Miles Avenue for the purpose of a electronic messaging sign that is 8 feet, approximately 8 feet by 6 feet with electronic messages that are for the purpose of health services at the building. The sign will be illuminated or may be illuminated from 7 AM to 11 PM daily and will be static or fixed for a minimum of 20 seconds as stated in the code and comply with all the other requirements of the code.
Thank you. Could I have a second?
Member Brown, I second.
Thank you. Ms. Kukla, if you'd like to call the vote?
Thank you. Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Fahey?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-219 is granted conditionally. We will ratify this next Monday and then we will send the appellant a letter. Please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for further instructions.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on to calendar number 23-220.
Our next case is calendar number 23-220. This is at 10510 Edgewater Drive. Judy Soderstrom proposes to install a generator in an interior side yard in an A1 limited one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the codified ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two. With that, I'll hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the oath.
Okay, thank you. I will assume that you're present for this case and go ahead and swear you in. Do you affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Raise your hand, reply with I do, your name and your address.
I do. William Kent Soderstrom, Soderstrum, 10510 Edgewater Drive, Cleveland, Ohio, 44102.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak in this matter? Hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned single family in 1929. 1956, it was changed to limited one family district. We didn't find any records in the Records Administration Office, and there are no variances on file. We found only in our more recent history that in 1996, there were plumbing and HVAC and electrical permits issued to the property. And that's all that I think.
Excellent. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the required interior side yard and permitted interior side yard encroachment requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. All right. I see that you're related to Judy, who's listed in the agenda.
She is my wife.
I figured as much. So we don't have to have a letter from her, so you can speak on our behalf. So you can go ahead and tell us what you'd like to do.
Well, we did buy the property in 1996, no, 1986, built in 1996. We're wanting to install a standby generator. Storms are getting more violent and more frequently, and so we really like to have that backup. We do live on the lake. I actually bought the property because I was walking down the street on Edgewater Drive on Easter Sunday and looked over and saw land for sale. And I was living in the Gold Coast and got used to waking up, seeing the skyline, sunrise skyline, Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
So the lake view is very important for us. When we actually initially started to build, you may find this in your law records, there was a big hullabaloo because we have a very skinny lot. Well,
It's
by
a lakefront lot.
By Edgewater standards, we're
Right.
71 feet, and we had people who built on the either side of us who were trying their best not to allow us to build. And we eventually actually had to move our house from one side of the lot to the other side of the lot. The standard being you need to be 5 feet from the minimum 5 feet from the property line and 15 feet and 20 feet total and not within 20 feet of the adjoining structure.
And you built when? 96?
1996.
Okay.
And part of the whole lawsuit hullabaloo was this gentleman to the east actually got grandfathered in an existing but non-existing garage, which then forced us to move our property to the other side. So the utilities are coming in on the short side, the side to the west. And I think you've taken wonderful pictures.
Is that, did I get the right side?
Yes.
I thought so, okay.
Yes. So that side is the 5 feet in there now, and the electricity is coming in on that side. As you can see there's the garage is in front, and then there's a step back on the further part. So it steps back about another 2 or 3 feet. You see this on the diagram.
Yeah.
Yes. For reasons of the manufacturer's specifications, the generator has to be not within 1/2 feet of the building, and you can't be within 5 feet of an openable window. So basically it pushes back, further back towards the end of the property, trying to accommodate those restrictions. There is in existence on the property line, a old chain link fence, which probably is from the original owners back 1920s or 1900s. It used to be the old Leonard Hanna Mansion on one side and the old Joseph Weiss Mansion on the other side. And there are trees between us and the adjoining neighbors. Arborvitae trees are probably 30, 40 foot high and at least 10 feet wide.
Are they on the neighbor's property?
They are on the neighbor's property.
Okay.
Now, there's another rendering a little bit further back where we show that the neighbor's property, there is like a 37 feet from the property line to the neighbor's lot, house.
So they're shifted to the side as well?
Right. So, well, they've got a double lot, so they get.
Oh, they bought a double lot, okay.
So there's plenty of room. I understand the reasons for side variances is not the side restrictions, so you can have access to the back of the property and stuff like that. Nothing's getting past that old iron chain link fence on that side anyway, and there's plenty of room on the other side of that fence to get to the back of the property. On the other side, we also have 15 foot on that side, which you have a wonderful bluestone curving pathway in that area. So because utilities are coming on that side, that is the ideal place to actually place the generator. Also, and it needs to be shifted at least 1.5 foot away from the building, which gets us down to about 4, maybe 3.5 feet to the property line. The only alternative to that would either to be put it to the back of the property. Unfortunately, I guess as one of the codes, it has to be the back of the property. Almost all of our back of our yard, you can get the back of our yard is almost all glass. It's the Lakeview. So to be able to get away from non-openable windows, we'd have to be further away from the house. We have a patio which is not shown on. I didn't know why there wasn't a variance for the patio building or permit for the patio building. It should have been. There's a large patio in the back, so we'd have to be moving back about 30 foot away from the house in the back just to be away from the opening windows and the patio.
Right.
Which is going to stick this generator right out there in the middle of the Lakeview.
Right.
So we're not pleased about getting it in the middle of the Lakeview, neither are our neighbors. And on the opposite side, there's actually a air conditioner on the 15-foot side, which basically
All right,
takes
so
up
your AC condensers on the
other
15
side,
side.
on the wide side.
All right.
That would be the only place we could put it in order to get away from non-openable windows on that other side also. So that space is already taken. So we're sort of caught between messing up the Lakeview, which we pay a whole lot of money for, or putting it where it is. Our neighbors to the west of us are in support of our doing this. Oh, by the way, both neighbors on either side have standby generators, which are on the side of their house, because apparently they didn't include standby generators in that. I was told that only came about a couple of years ago or something like that. I'm not sure about standby generators need to be in the back of the property.
I didn't know that either.
Generator company was basically.
We don't do a lot of these in Cleveland, so.
The generator company said that was a recent addition, which basically probably wasn't there when the neighbors got theirs put in.
Right.
So we're not actually, doing something that's not already being done in the neighborhood. And it would cost more money to actually get the generator put towards the back of the property, because we're talking having a lot more piping, a lot more wiring and stuff like that.
Is it run on gas?
It does.
Okay. Is your gas line also on the short side, on the
Yes.
west side?
The gas.
It's on one of these
Circled there.
drawings.
So they ran probably all your utilities except
Right,
maybe
you can s-
water on that one side?
Water's coming through right straight through, you can actually see in the.
Yeah, hold on, let me scroll over. He's got it labeled right there. You can see the gas line right there.
Right,
Okay.
right down the middle of the
Yeah.
property, coming in through, right under our front door is actually where all the water and
Yeah,
sewer's coming in. and
yeah,
out.
okay. And your other stuff they trenched on the west?
Yeah.
Okay,
How large is this generator? What are the dimensions?
It is 4 feet by 2 feet.
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
And what color is it?
Was there picture color in there?
No, it's not in color.
It's
Maurice, can you go back
it
to
comes in
street
different
view?
colors apparently, but we're picking a neutral sort of beigeish kind of gray color. Actually, it does work pretty well with the brick that we have.
Okay. I'm just looking to see the house on the other side and the drive. So the driveway, yeah, so the neighbor to the west, their drive runs straight along that fence and they are set back.
Right.
And it'll fit in that space.
Oh, yes. Okay, if we put it towards right in back of the garage, then it'd be a little bit more difficult to get around there because you got 2 feet of the thing, a foot and a half there, and maybe like a foot on the.
Are you planning any shrubbery or anything forward of that to block the view of it from the street?
I'm not sure you'd be able to see it from the street, but
It's pretty far back there. Their house is far back.
Even zoomed in, I could barely see what was going on back
Well,
there.
we've got that one little portion that juts out of the garage anyway, don't we?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
actually, I usually have some building material piled against the garage.
Yeah.
Do more than block it.
Okay, any other questions or
I
comments,
do a lot of
board?
renovation with hard speed.
I see we had a letter up. Is that from one of the neighbors? Oh, Jennifer,
They are the across the street neighbors.
across the street. Any other correspondence, Liz?
Yeah.
Okay,
I had talked to the neighbors who were closest to that side. They were in favor of it. They actually had the same generator we're getting on the other side of their house.
well, more importantly, no letters of contesting it,
Correct.
so. So, city planning, you wanna weigh in on this?
Yeah, Maurice Rowan, City Planning. Yeah, for all the reasons that the applicant has mentioned, I do agree that this is the best location. You know, the house does step back in this portion, so there is a wider side yard. You're actually at a 7.5 foot side yard at that point, so. I don't think, you know, we allow HVAC condensers in the side yards all the time.
Right,
This is probably not nearly as noisy as an air conditioner would be. It's gas operated. I don't think they make a lot of noise at all. It's far enough away from the neighbors. That's their garage side, so it's not like the house is right on top of them. Yeah, I don't see any reason why we would
We're
object
also
to.
told by the installing company that trees actually act as a sound damper also for that.
Right, and then the tall arborvitaes would totally,
right,
and plus
exactly.
it's not gonna be used that often.
Well, and that was gonna be my point.
Fingers crossed,
Yeah,
but I mean,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you need it when you need it, but unlike HVAC condensers, they don't run continuously through the season, so.
Think the negative, but there's supposed to be a once a week, 30-minute testing thing they're supposed to go on to make sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, make sure they're breaking something.
My friends have one that, you know, they're in a more rural area in Michigan, but it's minimal when it does its testing, so.
Had you considered putting it inside the house? I have a friend over in, what's the community over there on the east side, right on the lake? Brattonall. And his is actually installed in the basement.
How would you do?
It's a Genarch, is that the same brand?
Generac, yeah.
Or Generac, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got a giant one in his basement.
I'm not sure how you do the whole process of the carbon monoxide.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a brand new house in the Hannah estate over there, and so I'm just curious.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
That was like totally out of the question.
right.
Yeah, that would have had to have some, we digress. but
Anyways,
that would
yeah,
have-
it's not City
yeah.
of Cleveland, but it
Yeah,
just popped into my head
exactly.
when you said that. I just wanted to ask.
Okay. All right, so I think we're done with discussion, right? Does anyone have any questions or comments?
No, I mean, judging by the site plan, there's really not a lot of places you'd put this. So without a lot of hardship and
Right.
money, extra money being spent. So I'm prepared to move forward.
Okay, Ms. Roque is gonna do the motion.
Sure. Based on the testimony for today, I move to approve calendar number 23-220 at 10510 Edgewater Drive for purposes of adding a generator to the side yard as testified to today. I move that we approve.
Second, please.
Member Brown, second.
All right. If you'll call the vote, please.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Holzer? Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Biggs?
Yes.
And calendar number 23-220 is granted. Will be ratified next Monday. We'll send you a letter. Please feel free to contact our office on Wednesday for further instructions.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
I drive down Edgewater. I am on my way home from this, so I pass your house.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good day. All right, moving on to calendar number 23-222.
Our next case is calendar number 23-222. This is at 1378 West 58th Street. The Lawton Holding Group LLC proposes to erect a second floor bedroom addition attached to an existing single-family residence in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are two. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for the others.
Thank you, Ms. Holder. Seeing no one in the room, I will ask who is online to speak in this matter.
Yes, my name is Gabriel Rivera from GB Draft and Design Services. I'm the drafter on this project.
Okay, let me administer the oath and you can repeat your name for us. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please reply with "I do," your name and your address.
I do. Gabriel Rivera. My address is 12401 Rockside Road, Cleveland, Ohio 44125.
Okay, is there anyone else online who wishes to speak in this matter?
Yes, Bernard Chambers, the owner of Goliath Holding Group, LLC.
Okay, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and did you state your address?
2504 Ginger Wren Road, Pepper Pike, Ohio 44124.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter?
No.
Okay, back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Who's going to be the spokesperson?
I will.
Gabriel, okay. One moment. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that a two-story dwelling was constructed in 1902, and that a one-story garage was constructed in 1920. There are no variances on file and nothing of note in the more recent.
Great. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the Board, appellant is requesting area variances from the required interior side yard, minimum distance, and maximum gross floor area requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by their land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Great, thank you. All right, Mr. Rivera, as spokesperson, go ahead and tell us what you're gonna do.
Usually we're not, everything that is there is practically existing, all the setbacks from the property. What we are only doing is remodeling and building a new garage where there's a existing foundation. Looks like before there was a house in the back. Some of the other properties out there had some kind of a house in the back, and it's a full foundation. And we are gonna build a garage on top, same setback that was already there. The same house, the house is existing with the existing setbacks. What we're gonna do is just add, enclose, part of the balcony or porch on the front, to do a hall to the new, construction to the house. The house, I said, it still be existing. We're only adding, doing an addition on the second floor, exactly with the same, shape of the house, the same geometry of the house, and elevating the roof from, I think, 8 feet to 9 feet. And we're doing a new balcony on top of the existing porch. So mostly the geometry of everything is not gonna be added anything else.
Have, Mr. Rivera, have you been through design review on this?
Yes.
And did they approve your project plans?
They said it had to go through zoning first before getting approved. And a few minor details that we added from like firewalls mostly because of how close the property is from the other property, from the setback.
So is the footprint of the house remaining the same?
Remaining the same, exactly, yes.
Okay. And what about the garage? You said that you're using an existing foundation?
It's an existing foundation, yes. It looks, I looked through the other houses. They have like houses in the back. It looks like that house used to have a house in the back also. And it had an existing foundation. It's in pretty good shape. So we are just adding a garage on the back from exactly where that foundation is.
And it's just going to be to garage vehicles?
Yes.
Single story, regular garage?
Yes.
It's in the picture on the bottom left. I believe it's
Yeah.
already constructed.
Yeah,
it's
it looks
already
like it's
there.
already constructed. Okay.
And are you removing that whole front porch?
No, only on the only the roof to only part of it from the entry, as you see on the left. It goes. We're gonna add like a hole to in between the existing wall to the porch. We're adding a wall and a foundation there, but exactly in the same shape that is already there. Have you seen the plans? You can see existing and a difference of what is new. If you go up, I think, on that drawings, you can see the demo on the second page, I think. Second page of the step.
Yeah.
Changing the canopy of it.
Yeah, they are changing.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful old home. So, I mean, that's design review's purview, not ours, but
Yeah.
they're making a lot of changes that are interesting.
So what we're removing on the top of the porch is just the roof to make a balcony for the master bedroom that is existing. We're expanding a little bit with the balcony. But
So with respect to the first variance, that is an existing
Right.
You can see
condition.
on the existing site plan that's up on the screen
Okay.
now. You can
Right.
see the house.
We're really only addressing the second variance here.
Yeah, the reviewer said that because this house was built long ago, it never went through BCA. So we are.
Mr. Rivera, you're kind of fading in and out on us with your audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
We can hear you better.
better.
It's always at this time the internet always fails. Gotta be it.
Yeah.
It's just a reviewer told us this has to go through BCA because this house is so old, it never went through BCA. So we're approving the setbacks, but they're all existing.
All right.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Just for the record, the variance is still needed for number one.
yes.
So expanding on an existing non-conforming situation.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. All right. Question?
Thank you. Is the property being rehabbed and the extra bedroom for personal use, for rental, for resale? What is the plan?
Bernard?
It's for resale.
Thank you.
Any other questions? City planning, you want to weigh in?
Madam Chair, Maurice Jones, City Planning, yeah, the variance number one is obviously a hardship in that the fact that it's an existing, you'd have to pick the house and move it in order to be in compliance. And as the applicant stated, this house is so old, I'm sure we didn't even have, this was probably built before 29, so they may not have been, there was no zoning code back then.
Built in 1902.
Yeah, so no zoning code.
Yeah.
You could build wherever you wanted.
Pre-zoning.
And of course, the maximum gross floor area is a minor variance that we grant in almost every single new construction project in the city because the lots tend to be, smaller than what is required by the zoning code.
And I think we're fine with the garage.
And the garage meets, it's 18 inches off of the back property line, and it's even further off the east and west side, so they're.
They don't even need a variance for it.
Right,
They don't
so
need
even though it's
variances.
already been erected, it.
And then it has
falls
already
within.
been erected, probably without permit, but,
Right. We call that seeking forgiveness instead of approval when that happens.
unless they got a separate permit for the garage, which I'm not aware of, but.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Ms. Wilson, you want to take this one, or Ms. Brown?
Sure, I don't think I'll be confused this time, so I can take this one. Madam Chair, I would move to approve the variance requested in calendar number 23-222 for the property located at 1378 West 58.
Okay, could I have a second?
Member Brown, I second.
All right, would you call the vote, Ms. Kukla?
Sure. Ms. Coulter?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
State.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-222 is granted. We ratified next Monday. We'll send you a letter. But please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for further instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, good luck with you on the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to you're welcome. Moving on to calendar number 23-223.
Our last case of the day is calendar number 23-223. This is at 2101 West 18th Street. Monroe Properties CLE LLC proposes to erect a 3-story frame single-family residence with detached garage in a D1 2-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 3, with a note that traffic engineering approval of the apron is required before issuance of the building permits. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wilson for you.
Thank you, Ms. Holder. I will swear in all who are present to speak in this matter. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak in this case?
Yes, Haley Novak from Horton Harper Architects.
Okay, perfect. I am going to administer the oath here. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please reply with I do, your name, and your address.
I do, Haley Novak, and I'm from Horton Harper Architects. Our address is 812 Huron Road East, Suite 305 in Cleveland.
Okay, thank you, Haley. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in this matter? Doesn't look like there is. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Novak, do we have a letter from the owners saying that you can speak on their behalf?
Annie, the owner is actually here on the call, it looks like. Annie?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. I'm just listening, but I am here.
Okay, all right. Do you plan to make any testimony?
Not if I don't need to, no.
Okay, all right. So record reflects that the owner, state your name again, please.
My name is Annie Denis.
Okay. The owner's present and she's approved the architect speaking on her behalf. We'll take the history of the property.
Madam Chair, this property was originally zoned semi-industry in 1929. 1958, it was changed to the current zoning. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1911, a permit was issued to construct a two-story apartment building. Then there was a permit issued in 1974 to demolish the structure on the site. There are no variances on file and nothing of note in the warrants.
Great, thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the permitted side street yard encroachment and the distance of accessory garage requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. And this is Maurice's last case ever.
Oh my
God.
Yes.
Last one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm just gonna take a pause to go let that sink in.
Last one.
All
Denied.
right. Okay. Moving on. Ms. Novak, tell us up front, have you received approval from the traffic engineer with regard to the apron?
Typically, that gets taken care of during our permit submission. So we would plan to follow or meet the code on that item. We see that a lot on our notices of nonconformance.
And have you been through any design review process with regard to especially the CDC?
We did submit to the planning department, the design review board, and we also presented to the local block club, and we did receive a letter of support from them. I'm happy to pull that up and share that on my screen if you would like.
Did you submit that to the secretary?
I personally did not.
Okay, we'd want that in the file for you. And any
Okay.
other letters of approval that you've received from other entities?
Okay.
Please.
Liz?
All right, and you can go
Yes.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead and proceed with your presentation then.
Okay, may I please share my screen? We have a fuller
Yeah.
presentation. Okay.
No, we don't permit that.
Okay. Well, then I
It's
can.
turned off.
Sorry, what was that?
I said the screen sharing is turned off. I have what was submitted on screen.
Okay, that's fine. I can work with what we have there. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we have.
Have there been changes to the, I'm sorry, have there been changes to the plans that you previously submitted?
No, I just wanted to make sure you had the elevations as well. And the floor
Okay.
plans.
So
we
everything,
are-
everything is current that you've submitted that we have, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sure. So we're submitting for a proposed single-family residence here. It's at the corner of West 18th Street and Bradford Avenue in Duck Island. We are proposing to have our front door facing West 18th Street, and then our garage would be accessed via Bradford Avenue. The garage is detached from the house, and it's set kind of furthest from the streets. And then the single family residence here faces both West 18th Street and Bradford Avenue. And between the two, we have a courtyard that would be the private green space for Annie and her husband here. There's an existing single family residence to the north, shown here on the site plan. And then there are also existing townhomes to the east of the site. And the portion that would be on the first floor nearest the garage here would be just the garage rear wall facing our proposed garage. So as far as, if you want to scroll over to the elevations, you can go through those quickly. So our the west elevation here, we've got a gable roof shown, and our first story is being proposed as brick, and our upper floor is being proposed as a stucco finish material. And if you go down to drawing number 9, I believe, that would be the elevation facing Bradford Avenue. We have a porch on the first floor at the corner of the house facing both streets. And to reference our the variances we're here for, the planter boxes that are being proposed, those would kind of hug the corner. If you go over to our first floor plan and zoom in there, I can point that out. Yes, so if you can zoom in a little closer. Perfect. So we have our front door here facing, again, West 18th Street. And we have a porch that kind of wraps around the corner of the house. And on the south side that would face Bradford, that's where we have our proposed planter. So the planter is only about a foot above the grade here. It's not very tall. So the local block club had no issue with this being closer to the sidewalk. And then and we do have plans to plant a mix of plants in the planter there. And then the second variance that we're asking for relief from is, if you'd like to look at the site plan, it's for setbacks for the detached garage. The variance reads, the distance of the accessory garage shall not be less than 12 feet 3 inches from the neighbor's house on the adjacent lot. And we're proposing it would be 5 feet to the neighbor to the north, and then 7 feet to the existing townhomes here on the east side. Again, we had no opposition at the block club and received no letters of opposition. The block club was supportive. I think it helps that our garage just slightly overlaps the existing house to the north. And then the fact that to the east, those existing townhomes are just on the first floor would just be a blank wall without windows on the first floor due to it being the rear wall of a garage. And our garage roof, it's 1 story with a gable, so the roof line towards the walls would be, or the east and west walls will be lower. With that, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
What's the distance of the garage off the street? I can't read that dimension.
Let me see if I have that.
It's actually not on there.
It would definitely be probably greater than 30 feet. I don't have that exact number.
All right. Great, thanks. All right, any other questions or comments, board? Okay, city planning?
Yeah, Maurice Rowland, City Planning. One thing I wanted to point out is an item number 2. I think that the section 353.06 is incorrect. I think that 353.06 is a height district section of the chapter. So the code number, I think is wrong on that, just to make a note on that.
Okay.
We don't see the planter box as being, an issue or an obstruction because it is so low to the ground.
Right.
It's no different than if you were to put some loose stones in there, you know, and create your own border for a planting fence. I don't see that as being a safety issue or any reason why we wouldn't recommend approval on that. And you know, the tight constraint of the lot, it's a relatively small lot. We don't feel it's being overbuilt. And that's why the garage is a little bit closer to the existing structures than what it should be. I will point out that it is, it does meet the setback from the property line properly. It only has to be 18 inches. They're actually at 3. So they've increased that. So we would recommend approval
Right.
of this project.
And I
of
think,
course, it doesn't need variance for city planning. That's just a note.
all right, thank you. Ms. Novak, I think you said the planter box is 12 inches off grade. Is that right?
I believe it's 12. It would be definitely no more than 16.
Okay, all right. All right, any other questions or comments, board? I'll entertain a motion. Ms. Novak or Ms. Pulser, would you like to?
Sure. Having heard testimony from the architect, and city planning, I move approval of calendar number 23-223 with a note that section 353.06 might not be required.
No, it's incorrect.
It's incorrect. Thank you.
The verbiage is correct, just the number that is stated is
Right.
is incorrect.
Thank you.
Okay, a second?
A second.
All right, we have a second from Ms. Wilson. If you'd like to call the vote. Ms.
Brown?
Kukla?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Alter?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-223 is granted. If you ratify next Monday, we will send the appellant a letter. Please feel free to contact our office next Wednesday for further instructions.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to old business. We have number 3, number 4, 5, and 6. Without objection, board?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Okay. All right, and Liz, do you want to tell us what's going on with these other ones?
Sure, with both of these affirmation requests, the appellants are still working on their full architectural drawings. I'll just read the specific cases. Calendar number 22-115 regarding 1200 West 76th Street, Shoreway Building LLC. Granted variances on January 3rd, 2023 to erect a 10-story apartment building consisting of 73 dwelling units and 183 parking spaces. Again, this was granted in January 3rd of 2023. Therefore, this is their second affirmation request. And then the second one is calendar number 23-124 at 16722 Miles Avenue. Martin Manasian was granted variances on July 31st, 2023 to establish use as an auto repair shop in a residence industry. Actually, in this case, Madam Chair, he also had issues with illness and was out of the country over the last 6 months, so wasn't able to complete the permit process.
Okay. All right, I think I remember him from that. And the Shoreway building, that was January 3rd of last year. It's been a whole 12 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no. All right, without objection, board on those?
Without objection.
No objection, but how much longer, on the Shoreway one, when we grant this, how long is it for?
Another 6 months.
6 months. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So Maurice, do you want to make?
Would you like to next some parting
Let me-
words
No.
on the public YouTube?
I don't have anything planned. Thank you very much. No.
The Board of Zoning Appeals for this January 22nd, 2024 is adjourned. noting that this is the last session that Maurice Rulins, our senior city planner, is being with us. So we wish him all the best
Thank you.
in his next chapter of life.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to work with everyone here. I really enjoyed it.
And we thank you for all your years of service.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long road.
And for
It's
fixing
been a
all of our
wild
IT
ride.
problems.
Yes.
Starting with Hunter Morrison, probably one of the city's best planning directors in its history, and come a long way since then.
Certainly the longest.
Certainly the longest. So yeah, it's been a great ride. Been a lot of things here. So it's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on your
you.
retirement. Enjoy.
Thank you. Oh, I plan to do that. Next Monday, I'll be in bed while you guys are doing that.
Don't gloat.
Be online watching. Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
You
You'll
lay in
miss
bed
us.
with your coffee or watch us streaming.
Chime in.
No pressure, Xavier.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so now that we're off the record, I was just.
Hold on. No, let me turn off the stream.